Suicide is defined as death caused by self-directed injurious behavior with intent to die as a result of the behavior. So often, people who are considering suicide are dealing with a combination of mental, health, and difficult life events. Symptoms such as very low mood, negative thinking, severe anxiety, psychosis. Psychosis is a collection of symptoms that affect the mind where there has been some loss or contact with reality. Now, during an episode of psychosis, a person's thoughts and perceptions are disrupted, and they may have difficulty recognizing what is real and what that can lead to suicidal thoughts. So, some people who end their own lives do not actually want to die, but they feel that there is no option left for them except for committing suicide. So, aside from mental health conditions, there are many contributing factors to being at risk of suicide, and that may include people with very reckless decision making and also not perceiving the situation and projecting oneself very immature and very quick to react to. So they are more likely to take their own lives than other people if they don't have people around them. Now, when we embark on the journey of self discovery and self awareness, we open the door to personal growth and transformation. So, by becoming knowledgeable about mental health conditions, we deepen our understanding not only of ourselves but also of others. Educating ourselves about mental health equips us with coping strategies and self care techniques so we can learn various practical tools to manage stress, to regulate emotions, and to improve our overall well being. In addition, by educating ourselves, we can become better allies to those around us who may be experiencing mental health challenges or any kind of issue that they are not able to communicate. So, we can offer support, understanding, and empathy. Also, by creating a network of care and strengthening meaningful connections. Now, this increased awareness helps us to develop empathy and compassion for those who may be going through similar challenges. It allows us to create a supportive and understanding environment around us, which fosters strong connections and relationships. And more so, as we recognize and understand our own mental and emotional states, we gain valuable insights into our strengths, weaknesses, and areas for improvement. Now, when we promote positive conversations around mental health, indeed that is one of the essential reasons why being educated about mental health is so important. By increasing our knowledge and understanding, we can contribute to a more compassionate and supportive society where mental health is prioritized and stigma is reduced. When we understand mental health conditions, that allows us to recognize and respond to early signs and symptoms. Such as just with physical health, early intervention is a key to prevent conditions from escalating and causing more significant distress. Similarly, when we are aware of the potential of warning signs, we can take proactive steps to seek support and treatment, leading to better outcomes and faster recovery. So, we must maintain a positive outlook in life and thinking that there is always solution to every problem. Suicide can be combated for sure at 100% level. The increasing feelings of hopelessness and being worthless for some time, that is, the subconscious mind stems this belief system, allows an individual to feel this way, but it is often a combination of factors that can be isolation, that can be doubts about gender identity, that can be any kind of depression depression, like postnatal depression, cultural pressure, society's expectations, for example, to act in a certain way or achieve certain things, and any format of trauma. So, there are several behaviors that can indicate that a person is seriously contemplating suicide, and this can include talking about committing suicide and preoccupation with death and dying, trouble eating or sleeping, and noticeable change in personal appearances, loss of interest in work, in school, in hobbies, and being withdrawal from social activities, friends, and family, experiencing or expecting a significant personal loss, like of a spouse, of parents, of anybody with whom we have been attached or have bonded, a very drastic change in behavior, often taking very unnecessary risks as if they didn't care what happened, increased use of alcohol and drugs, signs of preparing for death, making funeral arrangements, or giving away prized possessions. The most significant indicator is an expression of suicidal intent. And any combination of these actions might alert both family and friends that a person is struggling with life and considering suicide as an option. So, when we see someone who's struggling and contemplating suicide in their mind and struggling in their life, people generally give some clues and signs around them. So when people start getting a sense of hopelessness, they start saying that nobody understands me, I'm worthless, what would you do if you miss me, what will happen to me? Self harming behaviors like cutting, engaging in risky behaviors, I'll try anything, but I'm not afraid to die. And when I'm gone, I would want you to have this, substance abuse, feeling like a burden to others, and saying you would be better off without me. And sometimes I feel I just want to die. Statements like this. So one needs to speak up if you're worried that someone may be thinking about suicide. Talking to someone about these suicidal thoughts can be challenging, but if you think someone might be thinking about killing themselves, the best way is to find out is to ask. And you will not be putting the idea in someone's head if you ask if they are thinking about suicide. In fact, giving a suicidal person the opportunity to express their feelings can give relief from isolation and pent up negative feelings, and may, in fact, reduce the risk of suicide. There would always be a stigma around suicide. People with life experiences be wouldn't be expected to carry this weight alone. Tackling things, tackling situations, tackling the stigma, and bursting the myths around suicide is a part we all can play. We need to examine thought processes and understanding, are they right? Could you be more sensitive and non judgmental? Words matter the most. We need to use safe and inclusive language to avoid alienating anyone. For example, instead of using committed suicide, you could say they took their own life or died by suicide. So, we also need to use social networks to discuss suicide prevention openly, share content on social media positively about that it is okay if people hit the rock bottom at times. But there are people who have built transformative journeys, because that's the time, that's the blank slate of their lives that they painted the best painting of their lives and put different colors into a life that they had thought would come to an end or a standstill. So we need to know the facts. We need to educate ourselves first about mental illness, including substance use disorders. We need to be more aware about our attitudes and behavior. We need to choose our words carefully, educate others, focus on the positives first, and support and include everyone whom we feel is passing through a phase. So, we need to talk openly about mental health. Social media has become a very great space for positivity, We need to educate ourselves first and then others, and respond to misperceptions or negative comments by sharing facts and experiences. So we need to be very, very conscious of the language, of tone, and remind people that words matter. Now, chronic suicidal ideation comes when we are passing through a very long series of, being in a spot that we are getting eliminated from the realistic situations, and we do not wish to continue our interactions with either our family, our friends, our peer group, or anyone who is, very near to us. So we need to understand that looking at a chronic suicidal ideation from a medical standpoint, research has shown that certain physiological factors may also contribute to its development. So, certain imbalances in neurotransmitters like serotonin, which is a chemical messenger in the brain that helps regulate mood. And when levels are disrupted, it can lead to a range of mental health issues, including chronic suicidal ideation. So, we need to understand that, how all of this can be prevented. So we must have safety plan intervention, which involves the warning signs that a suicidal crisis may be developing. There are specific things in activities or places that will distract a person's attention away from suicidal thoughts. People who can help an individual distract themselves, people with whom they can discuss their distress and suicidal thoughts and feel heard or supported. We also have lethal means counseling. That means we need to ensure that you know the risk of suicide is reduced by engaging the individual or the family in securing and reducing access to every form of lethal means possible, especially in the home environment. If a person does not have access to lethal means, they will not die from self harm behavior. It is not about helping a person stay alive through a crisis, and therefore, removal of lethal means may be temporary. A suicide crisis can escalate quickly. This is very important to understand. And the time between the decision to end one's life and take actions is often very brief, even when people have thought about a suicide for a very long time. So the crisis usually passes, and this allows the person to come back to a mental space where they can consider other coping strategies. Since it is difficult to predict when a suicidal crisis will occur, and because in a suicidal crisis the individual develops a tunnel vision and cannot see the alternatives for ending the pain, putting time and distance between the suicidal person and the lethal means can save a life. It allows for crisis moment to pass and also makes it more likely that a supportive person can intervene and provide help at the right time. That is basically crisis response planning, where we understand the behavior, thoughts, feelings, health, environmental factors that predispose someone to suicide when faced with stressors such as triggers. And such examples of predisposing factors can include symptoms like depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, and substance use, as well as difficulty with social skills, negative self image, impulsivity, and maladaptive traits. So, when the person experiences and perceives significant stress, they may overreact, underreact, or engage in rejecting thoughts and feelings, actions, and behaviors such as anger, fear, anxiety, and self harm. So, as a result, planning also provides the individual a personal detailed narrative about how they got to that suicidal behavior in times of risk factors, stressors, plans, and preparations, as well as nature of their suicidal desire and ideation. So, through collaboration, a written set of strategies is developed, and it can be used to be a reminder and a tool for managing and surviving suicidal crisis. So we need to create proactive environments. We need to reduce access to lethal means among persons at a very high risk of suicide. We need to create healthy organizations, policies, and culture. We need to engage community members in shared activities. We need to teach coping and problem solving skills, support social emotional learning programs, teach parenting skills to improve family relationships, and support resilience through education programs, identify and support people at risk, train the gatekeepers, respond to crisis management in a more informed and calmer manner, plan for safety and follow up after an attempt, and provide for therapeutic approaches. So this lessens the harms and prevents future any kind of event or attempt to a suicide. Remember, life is too long, and the essence of life is your absolute truth. Once you embrace the essence, life becomes meaningful. Always believe in the beauty of your dreams and keep moving forward, as life is one long journey. In the simplistic terms, life should give you peace, make you feel alive, and serve your purpose. In the end, it does not matter how long it took you to get there, to your goal. What matters is that you catch your dream because you did not quit.